Welcome. My name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and you can find me at stampingwithhart.blogspot.com. I have a host code currently. The host code is good until the 17th, but I also have an ordering special that ends on January 10th. 2022, and I'm going to be talking about those things in just a moment, but first I'm going to walk you through the cards that we're going to be working on tonight. So I have a lot of different color options to show you, but we're only going to make one color on the live. We're going to do one large card and then one of the smaller note cards as well. We have one large card and one of the note size cards here in each of the colors. So this is Pool Party, and then this is, well, here, I should have had them in the same order, right? This one is So Saffron. Let me see if I can keep these in order as I go. This one is Blushing Bride. I had some really interesting things happening with Blushing Bride over here. All right, and then this one is Highland Heather. Isn't that beautiful? I love the way that turned out. And this is Balmy Blue. And Balmy Blue is the one we're going to be doing on our live this evening. So like demonstrating it. So it's fairly simple. We're going to be working with the Love and Happiness bundle again. Let me just show this to you guys really quickly. So when you purchase the bundle, you're going to get the stamp set. You're going to get the Bouquet of Love hybrid embossing folder here. So if you haven't already seen me talking about it, this is what it looks like. And then we also have the dies as part of this bundle. So we have the dies right here as well. We're going to be working with the two hearts tonight. So I'll just go ahead and take these out now. You can find this bundle in the mini catalog, January to June 2022 from Stampin' Up. We're going to go to page 11. I wanted to show you guys where my inspiration came from now that we can open this catalog. So, you know, if you are crunched for time or if you are new to the catalogs, definitely reference the card projects. There are so many of us out there that just really admire what the artists create. And I saw this watercolor look here on this heart, and I just wanted to do my version of that. So you can see all of the information about the bundle down here. Here, I didn't have a chance to go over this in the class, but I do want to mention it here. So anytime you see this, where there is some sort of a shape behind an image and it's in a slightly different color, that means that the die will cut out those stamped those stamp sentiments there. So I don't always remember to say that, so I wanted to mention that. The other thing that I wanted to tell you is that I was checking the inventory today, and the Love and Happiness bundle is already marked for low inventory. And I guess that's not really unusual because it, involves Valentine's Day and a lot of people are getting ready for their Valentine crafting. So if this is one that you want to get, I just wanted to mention that to you because they're not doing back orders right now. So that's just something to be aware of. Now, the other thing that we're going to be using today, and I'll go over the tools in a minute, but let me show you this. If you haven't already seen this, this is our Sale-a-Bration brochure. So if you spend $50 before tax, you can actually get the Simply Marvelous 6x6 Designer Series paper for free. And it's funny because I think I've just made my own name up. I swear to you, I must have said So Marvelous, and I don't even know how many times. It's Simply Marvelous, so I will correct myself there. This paper is gorgeous. They will give you 48 sheets, 6x6, double-sided, and then all of the colors are right here. And that was what I used to pull my colors for these cards. So let me see if you guys can see this. I'm just going to try to slide these down because this kind of represents the colors pretty, in a pretty way. But I just grabbed re-inkers in those colors. So Highland Heather, Blushing Bride, Balmy Blue, Pool Party, and So Saffron, all the re-inkers, because I did that watercolor effect with the water painters, which we're going to do together. Okay, so you can also use your ink pad if you have it and just kind of squeeze some ink onto the lid, and then you can water paint from your ink pad too if you want to. I used the re-inkers. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make these cards, but before I do that, I just want to review what I have going on right now. So if you haven't already seen, I have an ordering special where if you spend $50 and you get your Sale-a-Bration rewards and your Stampin' Up! Products, you can also get 4 card kits from me. So I actually have a video. When you guys are watching the replay, I will link to it. These are the 4 card projects that I made in a free online card class. And you can get these card kits for free when you spend $50 as long as you use the host code. And I have a shortcut. It's like a link that already has the host code in it on my Facebook page, right on my host code and ordering special post. So I'll go ahead and link it in the comments after this live is over. But I just wanted to let you know that the card kit special from me, not Stampin' Up, but this card kit special from me is going to end on January 10th. And that's just a little extra to, celebrate Sale-a-Bration in the new catalog. So if you have any questions about that, don't hesitate to let me know. And the other thing I didn't mention is these are gift card holders. So if you haven't had a chance to check these out, they're super cute. And then we have 2 really nice and easy cards here. And of course, it's with that Love and Happiness bundle. Right, so we're going to do the die cutting plates 1, 2, 3, and 3. And that's the little sandwich that you need whenever you're going to die cut. We're also going to use watercolor paper. So we're going to use the water painters too. I'll get to that in a moment. But I'm going to grab a piece of this. If you guys have other watercolor painter, oh my goodness, watercolor paper. I'm determined to say paint all night. Then you can go ahead and, use that, whatever you have. But this is what Stampin' Up! Sells. This is what I have. And this is what we're going to be using tonight. We're also going to be using, if I didn't cover them up, I did. I totally did. I knew I was going to do it. We're also going to be using the stitched rectangle dies. I thought that these would be nice because we have that stitched look with the hearts here in this bundle too. Okay, so stitched rectangle, those are a separate set of dies, but you'll have that stitched look that will coordinate really nicely. Okay, so we're just gonna put this here. I'm gonna wait before I get everything together. So I'm gonna cut 2 rectangles here. Okay, you can fit two to a sheet here. And I'm just gonna run this through. Now, keep in mind, the watercolor paper is thicker than regular cardstock. So it's going to be a little bit tighter going through the machine. If you do not want to do the watercoloring step, you can just use your coordinating color cardstock and don't even worry about it. But we're going to have a little fun with the water painters tonight. Okay. Just making sure I pulled my hair back because it always rubs against the microphone. Okay, so we have 1 and 2. And you can see this like really kind of gets in there because this is a little bit thicker paper. And I'll give you the measurements on these rectangles here and why I chose this particular size. So I wanted to just show you because there are many different sizes when you get the stitched rectangles, but I really liked this size because it fit nicely with the larger heart. Okay, so just something that I wanted to point out there. And then I chose this rectangle because I wanted to be able to get as much as I could out of the watercolor paper. And that was how I came up with the idea of doing several large cards and several smaller cards. and decided to use that smaller heart too. So we're kind of doubling up on our card duty here. So if your New Year's resolution is to make more cards, there you go. Okay, so the next step is going to be to emboss. Now, I will say, I'm going to go ahead and say it, that I do put these through the die cutting machine again after I emboss it to die cut. And that does start to smooth this down a little bit. So it's up to you whether or not you want to do it that way, but that's how I'm going to do it. I liked it. It almost looks pressed to me, but just wanted to put that out there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to center each one on the heart. And here is our second one, and you can see we have our full heart here, and it's a slight, you can definitely see the embossed heart here, but it's subtle, right? Like it's a subtle heart here. So we have Balmy Blue. I just did 3 drops. You could do however many you want. And in this case, we're going to be using the water painters. You get a set of 3. When you purchase these. I'm actually just going to use the big guy tonight. Now you can fill up the well of your water painter and squeeze the water. I have a separate thing of water tonight because we're going to kind of do a ton of water. It's going to be more of like a wash instead of detail painting. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm just trying to see what I did with my other oh, there it is. I see it. Okay. Just had to check for that real quick. We need the big piece too. So we're going to do the large and the small piece here. And I want to get a lot of water. I'm hoping if I do this, you guys can still see this okay. Let me see. Maybe if I do it, I'll do it kind of like at an angle here. How about that? So I'm going to get a lot of water on my brush, and I'm going to put a bunch of water on my block. And if you're just joining, this is watercolor paper that we're using. Okay, so it's nice and saturated. That's what we want. Now I'm going to start pulling a little bit of color, but we really want it to look nice and soft and clear. Okay, so you don't want that darker color, you want lighter color. And then we're just going to start sweeping it all the way across. So just like this. It's okay to get a lot of water. Okay, you want it to be nice and soft and wet. So if you guys cook, think of the egg wash, right? So just a really light wash there. And where it's okay if your paper's really wet. I'll show you what to do in a minute if it's super wet. If you feel like it's too light, you can go over it again. Okay, so keep some paper towels on hand if you want to dab off. You can do that. Okay, so this is nice and light. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking some of the water off of my brush. So I'm drying out the brush a little bit, and where I have water kind of sitting in the heart, I'm just going to kind of move it around a little bit. And what that does is that allows you to get some of the excess water off. If you don't want to kind of wiggle it through, all you have to do is press your paper towel down and you'll get a nice light wash. So I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to get a little more color now, but it's still a lot of water. We're going to go over it one more time. Just that little nice soft washed look. So when you look at, there we go. All right, I think that looks really good. If you want to do a little more color in one area, you certainly can. All right, and then let me show you. So on the Designer Series paper, both patterns have variations in color. Okay, so you can see the variation in color here. So I thought it would be nice to have like a little bit of a light variation in color here too. So I was kind of going for that in like the finished pieces. So you can see like we have some high and some low light, but overall just really, really soft. Okay, so that's the first piece. And now let's do this one more time. I'm just going to set this off to the side and get a ton of water. Now, because I'm just using one color with this water, I'm not worried about blue getting in there. But if you're going to do multiple cards, you might want to have a clean and a dirty water. I don't want to say dirty water, but watercolor water there. Okay, so we're just going to go back through and do this one more time. It's a little bit different with the bigger one. Basically the same concept. If you feel like you have too much color, just grab some water there and it will start to soften it up. The best thing not to do is to go straight for your re-inker color and not have other water with it, because that will give you a really concentrated blue. Okay. And I'm just going to go right around those edges there. Let me know in the comments if you guys use your water painters, if this is something that you like to do. I definitely want to do more fun folds this year. I would like to kind of do some more techniques this year. I don't want to put too many things on my list, but I've really been enjoying this. Okay. All right. So that is definitely on the softer side with blue, but so, so pretty. All right. Now, if you did want to add more color, I am going to get that concentrated blue now just to show you, and I'm going to color the heart. Still soft, but you can definitely see there's more color going on there. Okay. And we'll give that a minute to dry. And that's just to show you in case you do want that variation, or if you want to leave the whole piece, if you don't want to die cut the heart out, we're going to die cut it. Then this is what the look that you'll get, which is really pretty. And you could do probably more than one color too if you wanted to. Okay, so I'm just going to clean off this brush. And I'm going to set this aside. I'm also going to kind of towel it off with my paper towel and try to get this excess color off here. Okay. So this is the next part of this, the next step. So now for the magic of video, these are already dry, but these are wet. So if you're dealing with wet pieces, wait until they dry before you do the next step. These are nice and dry, so I can go ahead and get back to my cutting steps now, which is what we're going to do. And I'm just going to bring my machine back in. Okay. All right. So we're going to need our die cutting pieces again. I should say plates. And I'm going to do the large one first because I have a little trick with the small one if you're interested. So for the large one, we just need the regular heart die, the big one. And I'm just going to line it up with the pattern. We're going to die cut this out. Now here is where this pattern is going to get pushed down a little bit. I think it's okay, but if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. I'm sorry if I'm moving the camera. I'm trying not to. All right. I just think it is the cool. I just think it looks like worn. It looks like worn material to me when you do that. I think it has such a beautiful look to it. It definitely smooths it down. Okay, so we're going to keep this piece. We're going to set this piece aside. And now we're going to do the little one. Okay, so for this one, I want to show you a little trick. So when you color, like when you watercolor this, it's really kind of, I don't want to say washed out. The heart is there, but that detail frame for the heart, I feel like it kind of flattens out a little. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the large heart die. This is the cutting side. Where you can see the stitching is the cutting side. We don't want to cut with the large heart. We just kind of want to bring that embossed frame back a little bit. So I'm going to put that face down. So cutting side down, direct on the plate. Then I'm going to take my little heart and we're going to put this stitched side up, because this we do want to cut out. Okay. So I'm going to put that right in the center of the big heart. So the big heart is face down. The little heart is cut side up. And now the sizing of this rectangle is very convenient because we know that the edge of the heart goes right to the edge of the paper. So it's easy, relatively easy, to line it up. You can see it on the back too, but it's a little bit softer. We're going to put the embossed paper face down. I know that seems weird, but just bear with me for a second. So we're going to put that face down. I'm very carefully going to set this top plate down. And we're going to cut. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm talking about here. It's subtle, and if you guys have done that before, where you use it more as an embossing like frame instead of a die cut, just let me know. It's kind of like a cool little tip, but let me just show you the difference now. Okay, so here, can you see that heart frame? Just a little bit more defined. It kind of stands out a little bit more because it's all one color, right? So I feel like that can get a little bit lost. So we embossed that frame, you know, so that it was more prominent. This is what it looks like when you haven't done that yet. Okay, so let me know if you guys notice a difference there. I thought it was just, you know, people aren't going to people that don't craft and get these cards from you, they're not going to realize it. But it's cool. Like, I think it's a cool little technique to do. So that's how you get that little frame in there if you want it. And if you don't want it, you'll just have this little center heart cut out without that little extra framing. So it'll be a little bit on the softer side. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so we have our large and our smaller note card size. Very hard to see the scoring line on basic white cardstock on a Facebook Live. Am I right? I mean, it's like, geez. Okay. So this is our standard 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 size card. This is our note size card. And let me, these are, I'm going to tell you another thing that I do here. So if you buy these, let's see, the basic white note cards in envelopes. If you buy these, you already get everything cut, right? So the full size before the note card is folded in half is 5 by 7. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to that 3 1/2 inch mark. You can barely see it. Like, it's here. The Stampin' Up! Does score a line in the note card for you, but it's a very light score. And I kind of like more scoring than that. So I'm just going to go over it again with my scoring tool. It just will make me happier. So I just feel like it folds a little bit better when you have a good crease in it. So that's just another little tip from me. So I hear some people say that they feel like they don't even need a bone folder. I definitely do. Okay. So here we go. So we have the large and we have the small. And then we were just going to choose our sentiments here. So the sentiment, just to keep the layout of the card simple, what I did was, okay, so you could choose whichever one you want. So this one says, for my husband. We have wedding wishes, Valentine greetings, right? This one says, celebrating your anniversary, happy wedding day. Isn't that beautiful? Why don't we do happy wedding day in the balmy blue? So I'm going to grab my balmy blue ink. Wedding wishes is, I really love the font for wedding wishes too. Okay. So for the little guy, we'll do happy wedding day. This is a great way to get a jump on all of your love themed cards that you're going to need throughout the year. And I'm going to pull this a little closer to me so I can try to get this straight. Okay, good. And then for our larger card, same color. Let's do a different sentiment though. How about, should we do wedding wishes? I already have that on a block. We could do celebrating your anniversary. How about that? Because that's kind of a longer sentiment and I like that on a longer card. So I had Bumblebee on here. I did stamp Bumblebee with So Saffron, by the way. So Saffron for all of this part. And then for celebrating your anniversary, I did a slightly darker yellow because I was afraid it was going to disappear. But you know what? So Saffron probably would have been fine. Okay, so let's do celebrating your anniversary. Okay. And now, with the next part of the card, and just in case you haven't seen all of your options with love and happiness, you get the outside and the inside sentiments, and you have the whole gamut for love and happiness. Anniversary, engagement, wedding, Valentine's Day, husband, wife, greetings, friend, couple. So there's to the one I love. So there's a lot going, and congratulations. So there's a lot happening in that stamp set. I highly recommend it. And then what did I do with my little layering pieces? Here we go. All right, so now we're going to take, this is a really good card project for scraps if you have leftovers or strips of these. And then you can decide which pattern you like better, the marbling side or the satin kind of fabric side. So you guys can let me know which one you like better. The tone on tone was what I went for. So I chose the marbling side. Okay. And we can try the opposite if you want to. And then you would just choose, you know, that section of paper that you wanted. I personally like this look here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut just a small piece off of this because you're not going to see the whole layer. You could if you wanted to. I'm actually going to hide it behind the embossing piece. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this down like 2 1/4 probably is fine. Let's see. Yeah, that's going to fit back there just fine. So that's probably like 2 1/4 by 3 or something. All right, and then we're just going to glue this down. So pretty simple card here. Let me just go ahead and get my glue. So I'm gonna just put down, oh, thank you so much for sharing. That's so sweet. All right, I'm just gonna get a little bit of glue. I'm just gonna go right around the rectangle here. Nobody's gonna see it, right? And we're just gonna put that right over. And then I'm just gonna press this down. No one's going to see that part anyway. Okay, now for the next part, if you want your embossed watercolor paper to be completely flat, I would recommend Tear and Tape or Seal Plus. If you are okay with it being just a little bit, you know, I don't want to say rough, but there's definitely some texture there, then go ahead and use your regular glue, right? So for this one, I'll do one with the glue and one with the tear and tape so you guys can kind of see the difference, but very subtle. There we go. Okay, so these are the two cards from our live. I'll go through all of the colors again just one more time, but here's what I want to say. I do go live every Thursday and every Sunday at 7:30 unless something comes up, and that's Eastern time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be doing another free online class January 18th. I'll be featuring new product from the new catalog in the next class. So if you're not already on my email list, I should say my email list, right? If you're not already on my email list, be sure to sign up. That's the first place where I show sneak previews for Facebook Live projects. But I'm going to go through the colors one more time. So hang in there with me. Okay. Balmy blue. And here's the other balmy blue card from before. So saffron. Pool Party, Blushing Bride, Highland Heather, and then that's the other balmy blue. So let me go ahead and tuck that one behind. And then here are the large ones. So we have the Highland Heather, my Blushing Bride. I'm not sure what I did there. I kind of have some variation of color. And then So Saffron. And then Pool Party. So really soft, romantic, pastel type looking cards, but they're not so hard that you can't do them. And then I did do that little embossing trick. I did do that little embossed frame heart on each one of these smaller cards. On the large card, you don't have to worry about it, right? Because we have the stitching right there. But you do not have the stitching on the smaller heart, right? So this is one of those situations where the stitching on the heart is on the negative. The positive doesn't have the stitching. So that's why you see so many cards with the actual layer of the, you know, the heart out of it, because that's where the stitching is. And that's such a cute little feature to show. All right, so that's it for the class tonight. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you all again on Sunday, right? It's Thursday. Yeah, Sunday at 7:30 p.m. All right, bye-bye.